Bienvenidos, soy Ana de Aprende con Flowers. I hope that when you're watching these videos that you are also taking notes and practicing out loud, so that way you can get your pronunciation just right. I have an announcement. I have a website set up now. The pages are both in English and in Spanish, where you can find out a bit about me, how to contact me, and also ways to sign up for different Spanish lessons. If you're feeling generous, you can also donate. Now, let's begin with today's lesson. Syllabication or syllabale. Why am I talking about syllabication? It's because it helps make spelling easy and it also helps you pronounce words. How does it do that? Because it breaks the word down into more manageable chunks. And it helps you figure out where the stress of a word goes, like where the accents go. And it does that because we have the two types of syllables, which is sílaba atona, which are the unstressed syllables, and then we have sílaba tónica, which are the stressed syllables, where you're going to put the force of your voice into, like the word tónica, 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 or atona. You don't put your stress on the to in atona, you go atona. You might be asking yourself, I don't know how to make a vowel. Are there rules to help me with that? And there are 5 specific ones I'll be going through today. The first one is a syllable should end with a vowel when possible. If you know what your vowels are in English, they're the same as in Spanish, just pronounced a bit differently. A, E, I, O, U. Okay? A consonant between two vowels forms a syllable with the second. Well, look at the word acá, a, ga. That means here. That one will break into a, ga. Rules 3 and 4 I'll be going over in the next slide. But here they are, just as an overview. 2 consecutive consonants break into 2 vowels. 3 or more consecutive consonants break. Prefixes are their own syllables. If you know what prefixes are in English, they're the same or fairly similar in Spanish. Like we have sub, des, and pre, just to start. Okay? As usual, there are exceptions to the rules. X being a tricky little letter with 2 different sounds that I'll go over more when I talk about consonants. Just know it's tricky and doesn't really follow these rules. Que and ki, they also don't follow it either because they have 2 vowels that are always stuck to them. You will never see Q by itself, nor will you see a QU anywhere. Hiatus, diphthongs, and triphthongs are also ones that I want you to keep in mind. I'll be discussing them more when I talk about vowels, but just keep them in the back of your mind. Building off on the rules from before, we have 2 consecutive consonants break into 2 syllables. The second consonant is going to be followed by a vowel, but as usual, there's exceptions to the rules. Do you know any ones that are easy to explain? I'll give you a second. Okay, if you watched the ABC video, you will know that double R, CH, and double L are letters. So therefore, you wouldn't want to break them. And so, as we have unbreakable pairs, there are also definite breakups. There is the RL and the SL that I will be going over. We have the word perla, It's also a name in some places, but it means pearl. And so because of this rule, we know that we will break the word up right there. So we end up with perla. For the SL, we have isla, meaning island. So we have isla. Okay? And so we also had another rule that wasn't explained thoroughly, right? We have 3 or more consecutive consonants break. It means that the first consonant is going to go with the preceding vowel, and then the rest are going to go with the succeeding vowel. One word that we can think of is entrada, meaning entrance. We see here that there are 3 consonants all together, but that's a mouthful to try to pronounce them all in one syllable. So what we're going to do is break them up. So it says the first consonant is going to go with the preceding vowel, the rest will go with the other. So we have entrada. And so one thing that also helps me is like, okay, what are the beats to it? So entrada, entrada, entrada. If you can count it out, you know that there's 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's how you count your vowels and also know how many there are. Our practice. So, vamos a practicar. We are going to practice. Let's look at the word niña first, right? So, niña. Identify your vowels. We have I and an A, right? So, when possible, we like to have syllables end with a vowel. So, we have here ni, nya. Niña. Okay? Then we have allí. Allí means there and when. So there is when we're talking about a place. When we're talking about time. Okay? But that's a topic for a different story. Let's break up allí into the syllables, right? So we have a, y. So allí, we know that double L is one of the unbreakable pairs. So we will break, and we know that with if there's 2 consonants together, that it will go with the second one. So we have a, y. Okay? What's next? Escuela. Ooh, this one's fun and a little tricky. So we have 2 consonants here and L, right? But we don't care about those right now. We want to find our vowels. We have a E here, a U, E, and an A. So let's look at ways we could break it down. We have S, sque, la. How can we break that down? Listen to how I say it, and let's see if you can figure it out on your own. Escuela, escuela, escuela. Es, sque, la. Now, some people might be tempted to break up the U and the E, but that is what's known as a diphthong. I'll talk about that when I talk about the vowels, but for right now, just believe me, you don't want to break them up. Although if you go, voy a la escuela, escue, you can still get your point across, but it sounds better if you leave those 2 together and go escuela. And so you know the sque, it's stressed a little more. Like if you hear the word, you go escuela, escuela, esque, escuela. There's more of an emphasis on the sque part. Okay. Frecuente, frequent. So let's find our vowels. We have E, we have another UE, so we know that will most likely be the same as escuela, right? Then we have an E at the end. So we know from the first rule, when possible, syllables would like to be broken up with the vowel, leaving a vowel at the end. So we have frecuente. Now, why didn't I break these two up, right? Because, like I said before, they're going to stay together. And we're going to loop our voice. So this is more flowy, I guess is the way you would say it. So it's frecuente. So again, our emphasis is going to be on this quen part. So frecuente, frecuente, frecuente. Okay? And then we got one more to do. Acrobata, 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 acrobata. Okay? Acrobata. So I didn't put the accent on there. So you're like, you didn't put the accent. How do you know where you're going to stress? Listen to what I say. Acrobata, acrobata, acrobata. I put more of a stress, a firm on here. And we'll learn the rules about how accents are done later, but just think about how you're stressing on a word. If you're saying it right, you'll stress in the right part. Okay? I wanted to take some time and talk about definitions. As you can see, sometimes I put up definitions for words, sometimes I don't. If I put up, usually I don't put up the definition if it's an easier word or if I have a picture of it. As you can see with this little shot here of frecuente, it has many definitions, right? We have frequent, I frequent, he, she frequents, you frequent, I frequented. Those are all for one word. I'm not going to write down all of them. I will pick the best that's for the moment. And then if you have questions, leave it in the comments, message me. Or one of my favorite tools to use is, it's called Spanish Dict. And let's spell it out for you. So we have Spanish. And then it's dict.com. It'll really help you when we get to conjugations, and it also helps you with figuring out where emphasis are on a word. So let's say you have a word and you're like, I really can't hear where the stress is, or I don't know if I'm saying it right. You can use Spanish Dict and they can sound the word out for you, but also give you like definitions. It also tells you, like, as you can see here, we have the different, let's use a different color, different conjugations. We have the subjunctive, we have the affirmative imperative, the preterite here. All those will make more sense to you when we get there, but for right now, use Spanish Dict as a helping tool to help you know where your stresses are. Some words that may be difficult to pronounce or write are sometimes the words that come from the Mayan language or the Nahuatl language, which have been adopted into the Spanish language. One set of words that gives me the most trouble are words that have TL together. So there is a possum, which is TLACUM, A. So, Tlacuache. 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 It's a word that gives me a trouble. It means possum. This TL together with the tla, I have trouble doing it. When I went to Mexico, one of the cities or towns that we went to was Teocalco. And according to my husband, it's also difficult because it's TLAL, and those ones are in one syllable together. There's many names of cities, streets, sometimes even kids who have the names in either Nahuatl spelling or Mayan spelling. Other examples are when I went to Chichen Itza, which I believe is Mayan. It has a lot of ches in there, and it also has an ITZ sound that I'm not used to, and there's also a lot of K's. I don't pronounce those well, not in English nor in Spanish, so normally I would feel bad, but as long as it's in both languages, I don't feel that bad. Other places have this, I believe is more of the traditional Mayan spelling, is with the X's. Scambo. Because, as I told you, X is a tricky letter. It has more of a S. Well, let's try to get this. More of an S sound, but it can also have a KS sound. So if you get a word with an X in there and you can't pronounce it, it's going to be one of those sounds. Like if we look at the word, we can look at the word examen. So examen. Right? So looking at that word, you think we would break it up like this, right? Examen. Technically, we do in a way, but phonetically, the way you would get it is EKSAMEN. Examen. And so that's just one way to deal with X, but X is difficult in English as well. This was a presentation being done at Playa del Carmen, and it was done in the plaza of Nahuatl, either Nahuatl or Mayan dancers. They were dancing, they were also swinging from poles. I'll see if I can try to find that video. It was pretty cool. But these are more traditional, well, not traditional, but native customs. Gracias por acompañarme en este viaje de aprendizaje. Thank you for joining me on this journey of learning. Before we go, I just wanted to mention I am going to link in the description below a quiz for the ABCs. So if you didn't take the, if you didn't watch the video before, you can take the quiz and feel like you did it. But also go watch the video. Give me a thumbs up. Thank you for the journey and look forward to my next video. Bye. Ciao.